There's almost always an oath of office that's required by governments generally to uphold so that those who go into office, they have a reminder that they're just not there to do their own will, but they've got to do the will of the highest law. That's the Constitution. When people are honorable, oaths are effective. But when officials are dishonorable, the oaths can actually become meaningless. In such cases, what happens to the law? What happens to the guarantees of freedom? So, David, back to you. You talked a little bit about the oath, but I want to ask you a question here. What was the intent, and what is the constitutional response to a violation of that oath now? And put this into it as well. When an oath is actually taken by someone, and I did it 9 times when I was in office, so I've took it many times, can recall standing right there and saying, I do solemnly swear. But when that actually happens, what transaction actually takes place? What happens legally, or what happens morally at the point a person raises their hand and says, I do solemnly swear to uphold and defend the Constitution?
Well, Abraham Lincoln said in his inaugural address, when he took the oath of his first inaugural address, he said that his oath to preserve the Union, to keep the Union together, was registered in heaven. So when a president takes an oath under the Constitution, he is taking that to God. And he is going to be, or she is going to be held accountable because that oath, according to Mr. Lincoln, is registered in heaven. Now, our secular friends say, look, in Article 6 it says, there shall not be any religious test. And they say, if you require a belief in God, you are requiring a religious test. Completely wrong. In 1787, an oath requiring a belief in God was a given. When they said religious test, they meant you've got to believe in certain doctrines and things like that, like the Trinity. Some of the states required a belief in that and various things. They did not include the generic concept of God himself. That was not considered a religious test. And the proof of this is Jefferson himself. When Jefferson was a member of the Virginia legislature, he proposed 126 new laws to convert Virginia from being an aristocracy, a British aristocracy, into a Virginia republic. And 2 of those laws involved oaths. And he wrote 126 bills with 2 other people named George Wythe and Edmund Pendleton. And bill number 98 involved oath. He required a person to take an oath to God before government service. Now, here's the kicker. If you look at Article 2, it says oath or affirmation. That's for people who don't want to take an oath to God. Oh, that refers to atheists. Completely wrong. It does not refer to atheists. That phrase was put in there for the benefit of people who are Quakers. They were a major voting bloc in the state of Pennsylvania. And they don't believe in taking oaths before God, so they were given an exemption, a special right. Now, our secular friends tell us the Constitution makes no special provisions for religion. It's secular. It doesn't care whether you're religious or not. Wrong. That word affirmation is proof that the Constitution grants or includes special privileges or rights for religion. It's for Quakers, not atheists. At that time in 1787, if you were an atheist, you can forget it about going into a court of law and giving testimony. It doesn't happen. Here's the proof. Jefferson's 98 bill said oaths, but Jefferson, in concern for Quakers and other religious minorities wrote another bill called number 119. And this is the first sentence of that bill. And this sentence applies just as well to the Constitution. It says, enacted by the General Assembly, that any person refusing to take an oath, just put the word G-O-D in there. And then he goes on, and declaring religious scruples to be the true and only reason of such refusal. So if you had a religious objection to taking an oath to God as a Quaker, under Bill 119, Jefferson allowed you to give an affirmation. And that's why that phrase is used in the U.S. Constitution.